Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alt Kings podcast. I'm your host, Tate, and today I have the honor of speaking with some legends in the algo space. We have BuddyMan and JoeJo. How you guys doing today?
Good. How's it going?
It's going great. Now Algorand's one of those spaces where I haven't really touched up on many projects building in the space. I've spoken to one of the native marketplaces, Rand Gallery, but that's really it. And so I'm happy to be sitting here today with two great artists within the Algorand space and to learn more about your guys' story building on Algorand. So if you don't mind me asking first, we can start with BuddyMan and work our way to JoeJo. BuddyMan, how'd you get started in Algorand and where did your journey as an artist start off?
So I guess as an artist, where I've always liked to draw. My father is a very talented illustrator. He worked as a high school teacher, teaching senior AP English for decades and decades, and always just drew on the side. I grew up watching him, and for, I don't know, until I went to college and graduated in graphic design and started working in graphic design, I kind of stopped drawing because I was working in kind of an art-related field. And about 2018, I decided working in graphic design wasn't fulfilling like my creative desires. That's when I realized I had stopped drawing, and I decided, hey, I'm going to start trying to draw every day. Maybe I'll try to grind Instagram. So like 2018, I started trying to post a piece of art to Instagram every single day. And I didn't really get too many great results or anything like, maybe like 600 followers, but I never really made any money. I never really saw a path to making money, or like I saw people selling stickers and having sticker shops and then opening up, you put out the pop-up tent, you go out to the craft fair and you have prints that you printed and you have to, you invest money into all this merch and have to hope and pray somebody comes to your tent and gives you $20. Yeah. So I was trying it. It didn't really feel like it was working, and I didn't like the idea of setting up pop-up tents at craft fairs. So I was on. It was right before the pandemic. Started, running into cryptocurrency. I had been messing around with Robinhood for a couple of years. I turned like $2,000 into 900. I put the 900 on Dogecoin, tripled it, and I was like, "Hey, crypto's kind of cool." From there, got on Coinbase. Coinbase paid me like $5 to learn about Algorand. And it gave a little slideshow presentation. It said, it's green. It takes less than the entire network runs on the energy consumption, less than it takes to charge a Tesla. It's like 3-second finality, and transactions cost a fraction of a penny. So I learned about Algorand. I was like, oh, this sounds like a good one to invest in. Not financial advice, but like after learning about the different options, like what it said in those things, I was like, I don't have to pay $20 in gas to buy a $20 thing. That I don't have to pay like $50 to invest in one piece of art that I'm going to mint and hope somebody buys on Ethereum. So that was kind of like my logic. The cost of entry was so low. I had a body of artwork that I had already made for Instagram. And one day on Reddit, there was a post from ALGO Gems, a different marketplace. They're like, we'll give you $5 in Algorand if you just go try and use our marketplace. Wow. I was like, okay. So I went on there. I minted a few things. I minted probably like 4 or 5 things, not knowing how intense and serious the NFT industry is. And I had forgotten about it for about 30 days. When I saw another post that was on Reddit, it was like, hey, don't forget about ALGO Gems. And I went there, looked at it, and I realized I had sold a piece of art for, I think it was like $10 at the time. And it felt like a lightning bolt had hit me. I was like, the path of being an independent artist is available. It's real. NFTs can do that. And I had never really purchased an NFT. I was skeptical myself. I was like, well, that's a lot of money for a JPEG. What else does it do? But in that moment, I knew like there was a path where you could draw a picture, sell it on the internet, and make some money. And I was all in. That's all I needed. I never felt like I had an audience before. And then I just started from that day, just like grinding Twitter, getting on there, being on Reddit, posting my art and sharing my art on there, and developing a following. And like, I have nothing but good things to say about it as an artist going out. Like,
that was Bad Bobby,
artist, right?
That was Bad
Yeah,
Bobby?
I was. Yeah, I had a picture of Bobby Hill that I had drawn and dressed him up differently with sunglasses. He had a blunt in his mouth, a revolver in his hand, and a bottle of Xanax in his other hand. It took me a little while to realize that, the NFTs are about original art. And kind of got away from fan art that I feel is really popular on Instagram. Like, Instagram really kind of pumps the fan art. But from there, I just started working on smaller projects. I kind of explained to people that my focus was art. Excuse me. I don't develop. I don't code. I don't want to code. And I want to draw pictures for you. And I kept working that angle. I had one project that was based on like Dungeons and Dragons RPG characters. But the idea was, it's called RPG NPC. But the idea is they're NPCs, non-playable characters, because I'm not making a game and you can't really play with them. And if it's kind of like a community-based art experience where if you got some characters, I would draw them, like you could enter like a shuffle or a raffle to have your character like featured in like it kind of looked like a Final Fantasy boss fight where you're like, you had the bad guy over here and you had like 1, 2, 3, 4 characters over here, and I kind of draw like swinging axes and it like drew out a fight scene with your character. It was like a custom piece of artwork with your NFT character, and that did all right. That did well. It was supported by the community. Everything sold out, and everything offered was always purchased. But it didn't really like hit the, I guess, saturation or popularity or really secondary action that I would have liked to have seen for holders for it to have been like a real popular project. And so like I kind of looked at it. I was drawing full body characters that weren't working well as PFPs. I was doing high fantasy stuff like, wizards and knights. And that's a pretty niche subject in its own. You see any high fantasy movies outside of Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, they're kind of like in the C-level popularity range, as opposed, like the Marvel AAA big stuff. So I was a little bit frustrated, a little bit not sure what to do. And then the community experienced a major rug. This project called Goofy was out. It had stolen a character from Cartoon Network, and the artist got a cease and desist. He tried to defend himself by saying like, I drew all the hats myself. Like,
it took us far too long to figure that one out.
Everything else copied.
You don't own the character, but you drew the hats. And so like people had dumped money into this. This was profile pictures all over the place. People liked it. People were buying, rebuying, selling goofies. And then it all, bottomed out to zero, like real quickly. Wow. And I said to myself, I was like, this is what people want? It was a stupid looking character. It was very simple. It was almost a rectangle with eyes. So I said I could make a rectangle with eyes. And so I made an original character in the same stupid vein as this. And I offered the community, I would trade their Goofy for one of my one-of-one handmade original pieces. I named it Doofy. It was directly making fun of the, previous rug. And from there, Doofy grew just out of just being making fun of Goofy into being kind of like, I compare it to like a Mad magazine cover. So like whatever's going on at the time, I'm gonna try to like convey that with Doofy. Like tell you, like he's been price charts, or like hitting the floor. He's been parroting JoJo's project, Mingo, which is one. I've parodied all the popular best projects. I've parodied rugs when they happen. It's just kind of like a social commentary now, and it grew. It became popular, and people loved Doofy. I had a great time with it. I even killed Doofy at one point. Started releasing tombstones. People were sad. It was the first time I'd ever seen people sad an NFT collection ended. Because usually it's like, oh my God, we find out where this person lives and we track them down and we beat them with sticks. Like, they took our money, they sold us JPEGs. Let's go find this guy. And so I killed Doofy, and people were like, no, Doofy's forever. We can't kill Doofy. And 3 days later, I released Doofy with 3 O's instead of 2. To much celebration. People were happy.
He's alive.
Yeah. So I ended the first series at 360. I felt Doofy had come full circle and surprised people with this new character, Doofy. And Doofy's been very popular, and I kind of released them in batches, and they're all handmade. Because it's tough to have a regular drop schedule with Doofy, just kind of how the nature of like following along with what's going on with our community, seeing what the CEO is doing. Like the CEO follows me, and I make fun of the CEO, and the CEO still follows me, which I'm surprised. I don't do anything. It's not like malicious or vicious. I'm not like out to personally attack.
Banter here and there.
Yeah, but if the corpo overlord said something really out of touch, it's really easy to feel like, what about the little people down here actually using the blockchain? Hello. But luckily from there, after about, over probably close to 700 handmade Doofies, I got to a point where the community just likes my art. And now I release like about 4 pieces of art that I've drawn almost whenever when I'm in the zone. It's like every 3 or 4 days I'll release 4 pieces of art in my Discord. I have like a little giveaway bot where it says this is not a giveaway. This is a chance to buy one of the 4 pieces that I'm dropping, and then I do a shuffle and people buy it. And that right there, I feel like, is the ultimate answer to the problem where I started. I didn't have an audience. I wanted to make art. It was previously not being seen on Instagram or going into a sketchbook to sit on the shelf. And so now I have an audience. Now I have collectors. Now I have people who are excited to see what I'm making next. And as an artist, it took a while to get to that point, but I don't know. I mean, I could sell them for more money, but if that's not, that had, like, money's great. Money is a bonus. Like, I want my time to be respected, but like I would not be doing this if I had to eat. I don't know. Like, I don't think this is quite the space, like, to go full time. And like, if you're going to try to feed your family on, but like, right. And not, but for an artist making a few pieces of art and selling them for a reasonable price, it's working out pretty well.
It's like a passion project for yourself.
Right, exactly.
And as long as you're happy with it, that's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, like, I am having fun, and because I'm creating whatever I want, and people still like it. And that is something I'm very thankful for.
That's amazing. I think that's awesome. I really feel as if you've turned, some negatives into positives, and you found the way to do that and grasp that audience through, say, rug projects or making parody pieces of other, collections within the ecosystem itself, and really just bring all the communities together through your art itself. I think that's a really cool way of, getting the rest of the community engaged in what you have to offer, and as well as building your own community of people who support the work that you provide to the ecosystem itself. And so I think the strategy and the approach behind where you went with creating your art is a really smart one, because of how you're able to really hone in your own audience after the fact of creating these pieces that at the end of the day were just fun and games for you.
Yeah, thank you. And one thing I feel like the NFT space in general is with Twitter and social media and how it all works, like you can yell directly at the creator. You can, it can be a one-on-one personal experience. And I love making people laugh. And so to have my voice and my satire work with my art, I think that was also a real big part of it being successful. I think me being able to, because before with the like RPG characters, I wasn't, that was an idea and a project, but I wasn't really able to put my own voice into that. But as soon as Doofy came along, I used it kind of like as a Mr. Potato Head to make fun of whatever I was, whatever was going on at the time. And like that really resonated, and that really worked. And another thing with Doofy was that I would use it as art studies. There are inspiring artists that are out there doing, non-rock projects. And like I saw some Doofies, I did like basically tribute Doofies as opposed to satire Doofies. And so people would always get a kick out of like when Doofy in himself is kind of basic looking and simple, but like, the next one comes out, I've spent like 6 hours on it and like polished it all up, and still going to sell it for like 15 or 20 bucks. But people are like, look at that one. It looks exactly like that project. And people get all excited, and it's a lot of fun.
Doofy does it all. That's what it seems like. He does
that is kind of something, how the Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it. I've kind of taken that approach with Doofy. Like Doofy did it already.
Possibilities are endless at that point, whenever you open yourself up to all the doors that are available.
It's been the NFT space and the Algorand NFT space has been like the single best thing for my illustrations and my art, period, in my 36 years or so on the planet. So, I mean, there are negatives to it. There are, nothing. It's not 1,000% perfect right now. We're going to the bear market squeeze. All of the people who are on the fence about crypto are like, I don't know if I'm going to play with crypto right now. So we're waiting for all those people to calm down.
Definitely. And I also feel as if the light is bright at the end of the tunnel right now, especially with the Ripple lawsuit coming to a close, XRP not being deemed a security. And that's really shedding, a bright future ahead for the whole entire crypto space as a whole, I think. Tokens that deserve real regulatory clarity, like Hedera, like Algorand, like Cardano, and some other tokens as well. Those are the tokens that will last, and they'll eventually get their regulatory clarity within the states, and then we will eventually see that bull run. But
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I think it'll come sooner than later. It's just a matter of.
But that would be. I agree. That's my blind speculation in the future that America swings back the other way with some regulating.
It's just a matter of.
And then that brings a whole lot of money back in.
Yeah. It's really just a matter of getting it, outside of the moneymaker's hands. You got to bring it to the court system. You got to bring it in front of, the judges, because the judges are the ones, in most cases, with the most optimistic. They're able to see all points of views. They're not necessarily honing in on one, or they're not manipulated by one entity. It's kind of like, they have to give everybody the benefit of the doubt at the end of the day, and play the books as they play out. And yeah, that's really what I feel as if will eventually happen, but it's a matter of time.
To watch Gary Gensler actually shill and promote Algorand years before having to flip on it, like that, it seems weird for a professor who taught, cryptography to well know and talk about it and promote it, and then all of a sudden just be like, No, never mind. I walk it all back. Like,
You got paid
you know,
for it all. That's what it was.
yeah. It seems like a real about face, but
Yeah. JoJo, I'd love to hear a little more about your story as an individual.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
your journey as an artist.
So when I was younger, my dad was he was an oil painter. So he was a factory worker, but on his spare time he would oil paint, and I was really really good. Entered in some competitions in the area and placed in a couple of them, and I have a couple of his pieces still. Most of them are around his house or at his place, but I have a couple here. So I'm going to be getting those all reframed and stuff like that. So I was exposed to art very early as a form of expression. He did a lot of landscape stuff. So I would see how he would take a picture and, grid it up and then break it all down and able to do stuff like that. But yeah, like he did it all freehand, and it was awesome to see. In high school was when I really started to focus on some things, part of the art program. I really liked photography, and I helped develop the photo lab there, the Black Room. So that was really cool. Had one of his old cameras, and with how it would develop the film, all that kind of stuff. Really, granular, all that, and it was awesome. And I was actually, my art teacher helped me put a portfolio together, and I submitted that to one of the local art schools and all that kind of stuff. But, we're talking, late 90s when living as an artist was kind of maybe not so much the best thing, and not something that you could probably earn a living on. So decided to go a different route, which I'm, is kind of where I am right now in the financial world. But yeah, I always doodled and all that kind of stuff, and was, didn't really do stuff for about 20 years or so, just kind of a little bit of doodling here and there. And then I found Coinbase. I put $20 in a Coinbase one day, which is funny because I actually worked for one of the big banks, and a bunch of us were at a conference, and they were talking about how, cryptocurrencies are evil, and this is something that's not regulated, and, we can't do all this kind of stuff. So here I am opening a crypto account on Coinbase, literally as they say it. And I put $20 in, and didn't really think about it for maybe a year and a half. Came back and it was worth like 400 something bucks. I'm like, what the?
Wow.
Right? Because this was like early, and then it spiked, and it was like, oh my God.
early.
Yeah. Thank God I didn't buy pizza, right? And so I was going through Coinbase, going through all the stuff, and like BuddyMan said, they paid me $5 or whatever it was to learn about the different blockchains. And so I learned about Algorand. And so I did all that kind of stuff and got my ALGO. And then I went on to, I found the Para wallet by extension and moved it over there. Found Yieldy. Yieldy was a big thing in the algo world for a while there. You can see Buddy's face there. So there's a parody there. Very much so. So yeah, I was in that, and then I saw on there that you could go into NFT lotteries. So then the path just kind of followed through. I looked at some of the projects.
I almost forgot about that.
And then I, then created a separate Twitter account and started following these big different Twitter projects on Twitter. And then got into the Discord and stuff like that and started to really understand what was going on and thought, you know what? I mean, this is something that I could do. I can doodle, I can figure this stuff out. And so I just did it. And JoJo was a character that I had been doodling since I was in high school. And so I got the drawing pad and all that kind of stuff, and just started doing it. You see some of my early ones that are out there are, not quite as crisp as they are now. And I remember even reaching out to Buddy, and Buddy was talking about, you just practice, right? And then your lines get nicer, everything gets nicer. And so, yeah, it was just building on that. And all I've been trying to do since is just build, get my lines crisper, get the picture, get all of the whole scene better. Just going through the time, and I like, one of the things that I like to do is I'm always trying to collab with other creators. I've done a doofy. I've created with a lot of the various creators in the space, trying to, and really all I'm trying to do with JoJo and with Mike, the community that I've created, is try to help others. I don't take any of the profits out. I wouldn't call them profits. I just re-put them back in, do lots of giveaways, lots of different things. I've been very, very fortunate in this space. Every time I sell one thing, it blows my mind that someone wants, is there to do it. And yeah, I'm just trying to bring positivity to a space that doesn't seem to have it 95% of the time, and just trying to, make people smile. And, JoJo is, I use lots of bright colors, lots of, big, a lot of that kind of stuff, and rainbows and sunshine, right? But
JoJo was the first thing Doofy ever parodied.
That's right. That's right.
The first other character.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was a moment that was important for that to continue.
Yeah.
He tweeted, "I would love to see what you do with JoJo." And in that moment, I was like, "Okay, let's do it."
Yeah, that tweet is immortalized in that NFT that he made.
It's in the background.
Yeah,
The top right, you can kind of see it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just that kind of thing, right? Like, and the major thing that I try to do is just community build, because I feel like there's so many talented people out there, and I just try to bring light to that. And there's so many amazing people, and I try to keep us all together and try to help where I can. People need advice or what have you. I've had lots of individuals come up to me and reach out and say, like, what do you think about this? And, is this something that you could see being, successful, or something that, art that would work? And that's what I try to do. I try to bring, my helpfulness that way. Because ALGO, like Buddy said, ALGO has provided me with an outlet that I never would have had before. Crazy, awesome support system. When JoJo really took off is shortly after I had a major concussion. I ended up with a brain bleed, all that kind of good stuff. And so I literally had to relearn all of the day-to-day faculties. Like it was pretty bad. Like I was unconscious for 7 hours. Woke up in hospital, had no idea where I was. But I had to, and it's funny because not funny, but like, even talking to some people, after the fact, and they were like, when we would talk to you 5-6 months after, you had a stutter, you would mix up words and stuff like that. I had no idea, because I had to relearn how to get things from here to here, and just kind of, and I had like tunnel vision. Like I had to expand my source of, my peripheral vision, like just relearning how to get my the drawing back and stuff like that. So it was a while, but like, yeah, I wouldn't have done like JoJo helped me get through that moment in my life, because it let me not sit in front of I couldn't watch TV, but not sit there, do nothing. Like I had to relearn, and I had to redo all this kind of stuff. And it helped me use those parts of the brain that I wasn't using, just by doing day-to-day regular stuff. So,
fantastic. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard to see where you've came, and from,
Yeah.
you talking about the past and what it used to be like, and now being able to speak to you now, I can definitely tell, a complete difference. And I'm so happy to see you the way you are today.
Well, it's crazy because so when I got back to work, I was off work for about a month, and then I started incrementally going back, 2 hours 1 week to, then stretched out to 4 or 6 and then back to regular time. And the manager that I had was someone that I had come up with. So I had known him for, 12 years or so. And so he was really, really helpful, really, really good, really patient with me. Because I have like a client facing role, right? And he said, like, when you first came back, you weren't the regular person that I knew you were, because I couldn't, like, you were trying to get things out, but you couldn't get them out, right? So like the day-to-day speaking, like if I was talking like, hey, how's it going? That sort of stuff was great. But once I started to get into things that like memory, you needed to use the right, like work jargon, stuff like that, I couldn't get it out. And I would think that I was like talking like this, but really it was like this, like I was all over the place. So it took some time, right? But hey, it's one of those things that, you take for granted what was before. And so with JoJo, that moment, that time that I used it on this to grow the collection, grow that, relearn a lot of stuff. And yeah, so I'm very thankful. And that's why I just try to do everything that I can to support the community, help the community, and do, all that kind of stuff.
Amazing. I know you spoke a little bit about, community building, and I'd love to ask you now, like, how do you find, the best approach for anybody trying to start their own community on, grasping their own audience and building out their very own community? Like, what's the best approach in your eyes?
Yeah. So the one thing that is tough, and especially in this space, right? Like, you have so many people that come in and I got this, 2,000 piece collection that I'm going to put out there. It's going to be, $20 a JPEG, and, have at it. We've been rugged so much, not even just in ALGO, but everywhere has been rugged so much. It's just, you can't do it, right? Buddy, you're on mute.
People just give up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like I don't know if they might have been a rug, but they're like, oh well, we just didn't sell anything this week. I guess we just got to delete ourselves from the internet.
You got to be present, right? And my suggestion would be is you got to know the community, right? Like,
know your audience. Yeah.
And Buddy said it earlier, like, people want to support people, right? Like, if you might have the greatest art, and there's been a couple out there, and one that Buddy's parodied a lot, for example, the emus, right? They had some, but that's,
they run in 5 days. They run in 5 days. Yeah, I have it written on their tombstone.
They dropped like a crazy amount of stuff. The art looked cool. It looked cool, right? I don't even know if it was ripped off art or not. Like, maybe it was. I don't know. But it looked.
They had a trait that was vector tattoos that they took from.
That's what it was, right? Whatever.
And it wasn't even on all of them. It was maybe on like 20 of them. Or whatever.
Yeah, and everything else was fine, right? But they didn't build. They didn't show up. They didn't say, hey, how's it going? They didn't participate, right? Like, they went out there. They asked for your money. People gave them their money, and then they jetted. They were out. And
Terrible.
Community building, like, if you're, if you don't have a project manager, some people do, some people don't. I don't. It's just me. I'm a one-man show. But it's just being out there, being available, answering questions. People come on Discord and they, I just picked up a JoJo. Awesome. Have you, this is, I'll show you around. This is what you can do. This is where we can go. This is what my plans are. This is, download the token and all that kind of stuff. This is the airdrops. These are the giveaways, right? Like, you got to be present, right? And I, similar to Buddy, I release when I can. I've gone 2 months without releasing something, or I'll release a whole bunch of pieces within a certain period of time. I didn't draw anything for the month of June. I looked at my files and I didn't have one thing drawn for the month of June, right? But no one says anything. They just say, oh, it's a rug.
You know what?
Right? Because and it's because I'm there. I'm doing stuff. I'm on Twitter. I'm not on as much as I used to be.
Well, trust.
Right? Exactly. Right. So I'm active. I'm doing things that I can do. Right. But it's just a matter of, you got to be present. And right now, what's interesting about community building and and that question to me is because we kind of seem to be in an industry or community at a crossroad. Like there's Algo, and then there's all these other chains, and it's like, I personally think that all the chains can coexist, right? Like I think, and we were talking, about XRP and what's going on there, and I think that we should be able to bridge, and I think we should be able to, maybe the answer isn't just building on Algo. Maybe it's building on Algo and XRP or Hedera or Cardano or whatever. But we got to figure out a way to build that community to outreach, because, the joke is there's 20 active users that are buying things on Algo. Right. And once those 20 people
literally does.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Once the 20 people have your things, how much more are they going to get? Right. So it's okay. Let's, what more can we do? Right. Like, how can we bring people from one chain to the other, and from your chain, bring them to there? So
I think I said once, like, I want to sell my art. I don't want to beg my friends for $20 a week.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And
I'm not here to just be like, hey, can I have another $20?
And when I saw your, like, the profile for what you do and the podcast, and I thought, well, this is great, right? Because you mentioned cross-chain, all these different things. And I truly believe that's where we got to go. And so I felt, you know what, this is a great opportunity to highlight some of the things that we can do, right? Because we have amazing tech. We have amazing artists. BuddyMan's one of them. People just don't know who we are.
I honestly think if a new project were to show up, the best thing to do would be go slow. Don't try to dump 5,000 5,000 generating pieces. Like, nobody knows you. Why should we give you $20 times 5,000, and so you can just vanish in the night? Draw me 100 pieces by hand, then we'll talk. Like, show me, like, are you here for art, or are you here to, like, boom, money out? Like,
you got to network first. You have to really know at the end of the day. You have to know the people in the space that you're dealing with and how they operate and what they want as individuals. Because if you understand what they want, then it's going to be a lot easier to sell them what they want, because you know exactly what it is. But I think one thing to really solve, that cross-chain conflict of just some chains now wanting to network with other chains, is we need to get one native marketplace or many that have, integration with all various types of cryptos. Like, what if we had an NFT marketplace, we're able to sell NFTs, and it'd be bought in Algorand, HBAR, XRP, Cardano, and then whatever chain you bought it with, it just directly go to that chain, and then it'd be exclusive for that chain.
Super wallet too. You need a super wallet.
Yeah, like I know, you just use Coinbase as a model, right? Like, you can go in and out of all the different cryptocurrencies in the same spot, right? But I think a lot of the issue is that so many people are protective of their own chain and think that my chain is the best chain. Your chain sucks, right?
Yeah.
And even when we have, people that, because we went through a bit of a stretch there at Algo where everyone was like when Pepe came out and it bridged over to Algo, and everyone was like, I can't believe they're spending all this gas fee and all this kind of stuff. You guys are idiots and all that. Like, no, that's the wrong way to go about it. Why are you calling these like, if I'm calling you an idiot, why are you going to be like, hey, okay, let's listen to you? No, this is what we can do, right? Like if you want to spend that gas fee on ETH, go ahead, do that. But we're an alternative that is great, right? Like, this is what we
get the same thing without paying $20 extra.
Yeah, bring out the welcome wagon. Be nice, right? Like, just
I've started to kind of chirp. I kind of started to chirp Algo people talking to non-Algo people, like, yo, you need to calm the fuck down. Like, why are you yelling at somebody, telling them their investment sucks and that they're stupid, is, yeah, like you said, is not going to have them move their money.
No.
People are pretty into what people are into what they invested in.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can still do that stuff, but you can do it much cheaper, right? Like we're a discount brand, like you can do that stuff, but you can just do it and save some pennies. So
turn those pennies into Pepe.
There you go. Right. But that's yeah. So I think once we really need to learn how to coexist with other chains, and other chains need to learn how to coexist with us. And until you can do that kind of thing, and I spent a lot of time over the last 3 or 4 months to really kind of understand, some of the different chains, some of what's going on, the vibes and just stuff like that, because, just make some friends outside of my community, right? Because that's the only way that we're going to succeed. It's advertising, it's all that kind of good stuff. Because if we're just centered and, it's just the same 12 friends that are buying from the same 12 people all the time, that there's just nothing's going to happen.
There's no growth.
Right?
It's same.
Exactly. Right. And I don't think we'll ever get the volume. And I don't think there's any other, any of the small chains will never get the ETH growth and stuff like that. But what we might be able to do is get the attention of some of those big projects and show them that, if you bridge here, you can do this for much cheaper, more money in your wallet, and then we'll start to win.
That's a great point. So for both of you guys' collections that you guys have curated, are they just art-based, and then you provide, hints of additional value down the line as you find necessary, or as you network and build more relationships? Or how does the collection, is it really just art based?
So for both doofies, while yes, they're art based, I've also partnered with other projects that have utility tokens. So now Doofy is part of the Gecko Fam ecosystem, where you earn the Gecko Fam token. You can participate in raffles and giveaways. They have two different, I think it's like a cup game kind of deal that you can play in Discord. But in addition to that, for the first Doofy series, I put a hidden message in 8 different pieces and had kind of like a puzzle with a riddle, and gave whoever solved it Doofy 100. And in the Doofy second series, or the first series, I told everyone I drew every single pixel on this thing. There's no stock photo tattoos. There's no tracing. I drew all of this. So for when the second Doofy series came out, I dropped 200 pieces after about 3 or 4 months and sold them all and minted them as ARC 19, which was mutable. Like, you could change the image. And I said, oh yeah, there's like 30 of those I didn't draw, but I think some of the other artists in the community might have drawn. So there was like this kind of like scavenger hunt. I put 30 collaboration pieces into the series, signed them myself as if I did it because I signed all my artwork. And if they didn't have signatures, it would have been like, that's the one he didn't draw. But I could change it with the ARC 19 that I still need to do. But people were like, wait, so people just started kind of like trying to identify the different artists, and it was kind of another like mini game after release. My Discord was blowing up with people trying to find and spot all the I was calling them clones or the fake.
Yeah.
Because Doofy before was doing, I was making all the fake Doofies, knockoff bootlegs in their projects. So I had to make fake Doofies and slip them in the drop.
Not
do a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Right. So then I actually went out and got the one that I did, and it's sitting in my wallet because I'm like, I thought it was amazing, and that I have my art in that collection, and I'm like, nah, I want it back. So I went out and got it back.
Yeah, it's love it.
Yeah.
So it is all art, but I do try to put in some of the extra NFT jazz on top. It's nowhere near as complex as some other projects like websites dedicated to like quests and games and stuff like that. But I try to sprinkle in some NFT exclusive functionality.
That's good. I think that's a smart approach, especially for just being an artist and not necessarily wanting to focus on all the technical sides of things when growing an NFT project or an NFT collection. It's nice to be able to collaborate with people who already have the experience and already are focused on the other aspects that could be involved in an NFT project. And having those outlets can also help, progress and grow your project to a whole nother level besides just being art. So it's nice to be able to utilize those, I guess you'd say, those relationships that you have built and, grow your network.
I think networking and meeting other creators is probably and collaboration in general is probably one of the most valuable aspects.
Definitely.
NFT space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for JoeJo, I do have a token that I airdrop. More or less, I created that just because it's just something that I wanted to experience. And I started doing some raffles that are hosted on Project Raven. And then I give away right today. I'm gonna have I did a snapshot of all my holders, and I'm doing a whitelist giveaway for some one-on-one pieces that I've been doing over the weekend for everyone. Just some 16 by 16 pixel pieces that are pretty fun. But yeah, I do a lot of giveaways in terms of art and stuff like that I've done. And I would eventually like to understand more of the coding part of it, do some of that kind of stuff, just because I think it's fun and it's something that I do have interest in. But yeah, I mean, with my utility, I say right off the bat, I'm not promising anything. This is what I'm trying. It may not really go anywhere. And everyone understands I'm a one-man show and this is just me. And, I have a full-time job. I got 3 kids. I got a lot going on and I do what I can when I can. But yeah, it's just something that I'm going to continue to try to bring value and only because I genuinely like it. It's not anything that I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this because other collections are doing this. And, these developers are all doing that. I'm not trying to overpromise. I'm just trying to deliver what I feel like I want to try at the time.
That's a great approach. I think that saves, a lot of stress in the long term with not necessarily having to, provide anything at the end of the day besides just the art itself. And people only have to buy the art if they're interested in it. There's no extra underlying utility unless you, magically come up with something or provide something down the road. And then that is just kind of a gift, an appreciation gift for supporting you as an artist. And so I think this is a really smart approach because it's you're not gonna be overwhelmed or stressed by, an angry mob of a community that wants to come take you down and your project and find out everything about you. And I mean,
those people exist.
Yeah, we see with people just feeling as if they've been betrayed because project founders don't live up to what they say they're going to fulfill, and it's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, life happens.
You look at some of their, what are they called? The paths that they want to take, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, how the hell are you going to do that? That shit doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I mean, I don't even have one because I tried at the beginning and I'm like, I can't even I thought that I'd be able to put out, 10 new pieces every 2 weeks. I couldn't even live up to that. So I'm like, forget it. I just deleted it. I thought, you know what? No, this is it's just going to be, it's me. And when I can do new stuff, I'm going to put an announcement out and be like, hey, got some stuff coming out. Boom, there you go. Right. So yeah, and if I make mistakes, I own it and say, yeah, that didn't work. That was a bad idea. Didn't work. So I'm just
at least I'm tried
again, or I'm going to do it when I can, figure out how to, and then and then make it right. But yeah, I'm still chasing down and buying back a mistake. Yeah. And I had one of those and I sent it back to you. Yeah.
Nice.
Nothing but confusion for the project.
Right?
You do in your future, though, JoJo, at the end of the day, although you might not necessarily have that clear vision of what it's going to be, but the future simply is, putting one foot in front of the other, in my eyes,
Yeah.
just continuing to make progress at the end of the day. I think, 1%, 1% every day is the right amount of growth to succeed long term. You can't overwhelm yourself and try to force too much at once, because when you do that, in a lot of cases, it really just sets you back 2 or 3 extra steps because you're trying to do too many things at once. But I think, 1% a day is the right amount of growth to succeed.
Yeah.
No 0 days.
Yeah, no 0 days. Maybe 0.5%, but no 0.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. So, one of my last questions for you guys, it's been a really fun show so far. And I just want to know from, both of you being artists, do you believe that, everything is art at the end of the day? Or what are your thoughts on that? Because me personally, I'm a firm believer that, regardless of what it may be, it could be, something stupid like a rock on the side of the road, or, dirt that's being shoveled, or something like very, very vain. But I believe that everything is art in my eyes.
It's funny because I don't consider myself an artist. And I never, and I don't think I ever will. And I think it's a matter of perception. Like when I think of artists, I think of some guy in France with a beret. He's sitting there drawing some sort of Van Gogh piece or something like that. No, but yeah, for me, it's just an appreciation, right? Like I appreciate what other people are doing. And earlier in the show, it was mentioned, like, not even solely like the visual aspect of what someone puts out, and I have some of that stuff in my wallet, but because I like the person and I appreciate the person, I appreciate the effort, and I appreciate that they took the time to do that, and I'm going to support them. And yeah, just day to day, like I'm a big fan. Like I love being in nature, love all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just a matter of I would rather support effort and support good people versus support, something that looks like it should be worth $1 million or that I know is going to moon, right? But the person's a dick. I'd rather support the good people and support those that are trying their hardest to build, support others, do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I have an appreciation that way because I know how hard it is and I know how hard some of these people work, right? But I'm going to stay away from some of these collections that are so visually appealing because they just don't give a shit.
Plain and simple.
I think as far as like defining art and, taking a picture of a rock, I think as long as the creator, put intent and had, even if the intent was to be sarcastic and to duct tape a banana to a wall and melt down, like it's supposed to say something. And I think minting an ETH rock for tons of money is hilarious. And I would say, I'm sure someone screamed for the culture when it happened. And I think, if a creator says it's art, then I'm wagering I would consider it art. But I also think there are very extremely talented artists. And I think there are artists who are just beginning their journey and don't have the experience yet and are trying just as hard and putting in just as much time. And it took me a little while to appreciate that in the NFT scene because, I don't know, at first the pricing didn't make sense. Like I did not understand how like this scribble scratch was being sold for $140 when like this really nice portrait, 101 is being sold for like 20. Like but the Scribble Scratch is connected to a community, a token, and this thing, and you can build that and have all the extra gizmos. So there's like it's a weird intersection of science projects that meet art, that meet finance and business. And like NFTs are almost like investing, like buying a stock in a creator. It's
a good point.
Art in this space is very different. Like when I first got here, I was in a space, Twitter space where somebody was, we are experiencing an art renaissance right now. I mean, I think pie in the sky, NFTs being able to deliver like verified digital content to be sold, I think that is kind of revolutionary for us. But as far as art goes, I'm pretty open and accepting to even the bullshit.
As long as there's an underlying meaning.
Yeah, there's some funny, good bullshit out there. And like, it can be well done. Like, I've had someone tell me, this is a compliment, but you are really good at making some stupid things. And like I've said, I've never laughed more at my own work than while I was drawing a doofy. And I figure if I laugh at it, someone else might. So I'm pretty open and accepting to what art is. I am not super accepting about what I would throw a lot of money at.
Yeah.
How about that?
That makes sense.
I'm not really big into, like, I painted this canvas a specific color of yellow. Cool.
They mixed that yellow paint with mustard and then called it a new color of yellow.
Right. I'm not paying $1,000 for that. I don't care who it's by.
Yeah, of course.
Like the art that resonates with me is the art that inspires me to create more. Like if I see a piece and I'm like, oh my God, how did they do that? I wish I could do that. I want to try to do that. Like that's art that gets me hyped. Nice.
I think that's awesome. And that's really my last question for you both. And I appreciate you both taking the time today. If there's any, if there's any remainder, comments or questions you may have for me, by all means, now would be the time to ask. And I appreciate you both once again.
Would you be interested in us sending you some art? I don't know how your the format works, but you can add. I could send you some JPEGs if you ever want to throw them up in the podcast.
Yeah, I can do that. That'd be great.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't doofed on the banana duct tape to the wall.
Amazing. All right. Awesome. Yeah, we can definitely get some of those pieces up on this podcast. But if there's nothing left, I'd love to be able to close this out. I appreciate you both once again, BuddyMan and JoJo. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And I'd love to, dive into more Algorand projects and creators building on Algo.
I will say, now is the time to invest in Algorand NFTs. One, because they're super cheap, and two, the people here are not going anywhere. We're about we have the hardcore big projects left, and anyone building now is like a diamond in the rough.
I will keep that in mind. And after this podcast, let me know some other projects I should, onboard to the podcast and host them as well.
Absolutely.
For sure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, this has been the Alt Kings podcast, and we will see you all next episode. Peace.